Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in for another TF2 commentary. Now in this video, I wanted to talk about broken weapons in TF2. Now the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because when the Mecha update came out, there were 3 new weapons that were introduced to TF2, which is pretty exciting. New weapons are always really cool. Now these 3 weapons, the Vaccinator, the Rescue Ranger, and the Loose Cannon, these weapons seem to be tailored towards MVM. If you kind of think about it, you know, the ability to switch resistances, the ability to rescue your stuff from far away, or to push people back, it seems like it was built for MVM. But my brother and I were talking about this weapon, more specifically the Loose Cannon, and we were trying to figure out how do we use these in pubs. What is broken about this weapon? Because we were talking about this and we felt that there must be something that's broken with this weapon. We just haven't found it yet. We just had a feeling like there must be some little gimmick with the Loose Cannon we just don't know about yet. Now, one of the coolest things I think that Loose Cannon has going is the ability to knock people back. It's kind of a weird thing to do, and when you get hit by it, it kind of throws you off. So I think that's a really cool thing, but when I was playing with this weapon, when I first got it, and I started knocking people back, I noticed that the initial damage done by the knockback isn't that much, and it's really hard to follow up with a second shot. So knocking back alone didn't seem like the right strategy with this weapon. Another thing that's unique about this weapon is that it's a charged weapon. There's not that many out there. You know, there's like maybe the Huntsman, and I guess you can call the Beggar's Bazooka sort of like a charged weapon. But really, holding down your mouse and then releasing to fire is not something that a lot of weapons do, but this one does. And it kind of throws you off when you first try out this weapon. Now, because the cannonballs have a timed fuse on them, I thought the strategy was to actually airburst these things, to actually shoot above the enemy and have them explode right in the enemy's face. Now, when I tried this, I found that it doesn't actually work too well, because the damage of the explosion alone isn't that much. So my brother and I, we continued to discuss this, and we thought, well, maybe we can combine the two. We can combine hitting the person and the explosion into a single kind of combo, I guess you can say, kind of a 1-2 combo. And what we found is that that's a pretty effective way to play with the Loose Cannon. If you take a look here, I'm actually trying to kill this spy right here. I hit him once, but you notice that the bomb actually rolls and hits him again, and I actually get the kill. It's kind of a cool little combo, and the timing of that is a little tricky, but I think if you spend enough time with this weapon, like I think you can do with any other weapon, if you spend enough time with the Loose Cannon, you can time your fuses so that they explode right after you hit them, so that you actually get both the hit, the knockback, and also the explosion damage. My brother also told me you can actually jump with this weapon, and I don't know what you call it when you want to jump with an explosion, but not from like rocket jumping or sticky jumping. Oh, by the way, look at this. He goes flying all the way. Sometimes when you hit someone with this weapon, they go flying in weird directions. The physics are so off on this thing sometimes. But yeah, I was told that you can actually jump with this weapon if you time it just right. Now, I haven't been able to do that yet, unfortunately, because if I want to jump, I usually have a sticky jumper or just a regular sticky bomb launcher ready to go. So I like to jump with that rather than this. But hey, if you're going demo night and you choose to have some sort of grenade launcher, maybe you can choose a Loose Cannon so that you can jump around. I don't know. Now, if you don't want to time things that well with the 1-2 combo, you can always just go for the knockback. I think the knockback alone makes this weapon a lot of fun to play. Now, I don't know about you, but I've noticed that it's a little easier to hit people directly with the Loose Cannon than any other grenade launcher. Maybe they made the cannonballs actually larger or something like that, so it has a better chance of hitting someone. But it seems like it's easier to hit people directly with this thing. I also love seeing the cannonball just plow through people. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's kind of weird to look at when you see the cannonball not explode, but just kind of go right through people. And it's like, wow, that was weird. When I first started playing with this weapon, I kind of panicked a lot with this because I didn't really know how to use it. And so in this fight, for example, we take down this sentry pretty easily with that Uber, but once we push, this Ubered Pyro on the other team just rushes everyone down, and I start to panic. I just start to lob lob cannonballs all over the place, completely missing. I thought that I could knock them back, but it doesn't really work out. Once the Uber is done, you'll notice that I'm not charging any of my shots. I'm panicking so much. I keep hitting her. By the way, it's a her. I know it's a her because I play with her a lot. I keep hitting her, and finally I kill her. And it wasn't even with an explosion. But yeah, after all that, after using the loose cannon for a while, I actually like using charged weapons. The sticky bomb launcher is actually a charged weapon, and I knew this from the beginning. It's just I didn't really use it too much. But after using the loose cannon, I start to think about, oh, how can I use charged weapons to my advantage? And there you go, that's a perfect example. If I was any closer with just no charge at all, I probably couldn't reach that sentry gun, but because I can just shoot charged stickies, well, I can reach it fine. And now I start to look at things like, how can I use the weapons to its fullest potential? Now, I'm not saying that the loose cannon is broken in the sense that it's OP. I don't think it's that OP. It's very difficult to get good with this thing, but once you get comfortable with it, it's actually a pretty effective weapon. Now, this type of brokenness that I've been talking about is the type that gives you an advantage. And when new weapons come out, this is the thing that we all try to find because, hey, we always want the advantage, right? But there's also another type of brokenness, and it's at the other end of the spectrum. It's the fact that some weapons out there just don't make any sense to use because they seem kind of cool, but they're just too gimmicky and it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. A good example is the Widowmaker when it first came out. Now, I think the Widowmaker right now is a really good weapon. I love using it. But when it first came out, the numbers didn't quite add up. You know, it cost 60 metal to shoot this thing once when it first came out. And even though you were a good shot, you still lost metal and ended up losing gunfights. And so it didn't really reward people who were really good with a shotgun. But now that they lowered that down to 30, it only costs 30 metal to shoot each shot. If you're a good shot, you gain metal back. If you're a bad shot, you lose metal. So it sort of forces you to be good with a shotgun. Another highly discussed weapon is the red tape recorder for the spy. Now, when I play engineer, I like to play battle engie, so I don't think the red tape recorder affects me too much. I think it's mainly the people who play regular engineer, the kind who like to build level 3s, that it's really annoying, mainly because there is no way to save your sentry from a downgrade. The thing acts so fast that no matter what you do, or you have to be maybe mid-swing or something like that, but pretty much it's a guarantee that your building is going to be downgraded at least one level. And if you're too busy trying to get a spy, that's 2 levels, and soon it's just going to be a toolbox for metal. And so I think a lot of people are complaining about this because the thing downgrades so fast. I know this can be annoying for the engineer because basically you're going to spend your entire time upgrading your stuff, and you probably spend most of your time looking at your buildings than you do at the enemy if you're trying to deal with a red tape recorder spy. But right now, I don't really see any sort of fixes to do other than like change the downgrade time. But like I said, I'm not really affected by this too much. I would have to play more level 3 type of engineer, and maybe I have to play more spy because, you know, I'm trying to look at this from the spy's perspective as well. Now, my question for you guys is, what do you think the most broken weapon is in TF2? And it can either be broken in a good way or in a bad way. Let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.